Looking at those numbers, we're good. EPS up 41%, revenue up 25%, the sales. So I always say when the revenue or the turnover is X and the profit or the earnings is higher than X, you're doing something right, because you're not just relating your profit and your performance to your revenue. So what did you do right?
I think if you look into the Kenyan economy has been doing extremely well for last couple of years. I think we've been seeing a huge growth in construction sectors, because there's still supply and demand. There's a lot of demand for construction sectors and housing here, which probably helping us to grow in this market. And what we've been trying to do is trying to be more innovative, most preferred brand in this country. And Crown Berger has always come with the new brands. Like last particular 2 years, we have launched 15 new products in the market, which also help us to grow by 7.5%. So the growth from 25% up to 8% growth has come from the new products. Then we've been very focusing on regional market expansions like Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania. Those all regional markets also boosted our export sales by 100% in last years. So we see a lot of activities going on around this East Africa, and Kenya is one of the hubs for supplying the paints to all the market, which also helping Crown to grow.
Yeah, I think just to be clear, you are essentially a paint maker and distributor. Now that raises interesting issues, because some companies are manufacturers and other people do the distribution. You talk about the geographic footprint you've got. There must be a very mixed challenge when it comes to distribution. You must have good infrastructure in some places and not so good in others. And so distribution is in a way as important or even more important than the so-called simpler job of actually making the paint.
Yeah, I think it depends on the market logistics, because we can't put a factory everywhere, because we have a challenge here to maintain our quality at all locations. In fact, we have put a plant in Uganda 3-4 years before, and we've been seeing a lot of challenge to maintain the qualities and technical expertise. So what we've been trying to do is we're looking to the market, and since this COMESA, there's no duty across the doing a business across the regions. It's more viable to keep one plant and you expand the capacity of plant and supply a quality and consistent quality product across this Kenyan market. Because what is happening is people understand the local markets expect that product should be produced in Kenya. That's the confidence we have in Crown Berger Kenya Limited. So that's what we've been trying to do. Wherever is possible, we've been distributing our products. But we see like certain stage when we see the volumes are growing higher and higher. The way the Uganda market, we did our first distributions, and then we see the markets have been growing every year 50%, and we see a particular volumes we reach, then we had to put a plant. So I think we've been going with a distribution model in East Africa, and then later on definitely we have a plan to put our plants another location.
The African growth story, that's something that a company like yours must be looking at very carefully, because you need to invest for the long term and you don't want to miss growth in the continent. Certainly in South Africa, we've had low growth. We were hoping for 5 or 6. We've had 2 to 3. Growth rates elsewhere on the continent have been good. Now you talk about a place like Sudan, which has had political conflict, a separation in the country or between two countries, and still stresses there, but you're investing there. So what is your take on growth in the continent, and how mixed is that prospect?
See, I think if you look at the Sudan, nothing is there. If you look at the whole country has been constructing the new infrastructures. So I think any countries which have been developing a new infrastructures, they definitely depend on the Kenya. Of course, we are not been investing very heavily. I know there's instability is there. We keep on getting news from media. But what is happening, the demand of paint is so much that people comes to us and they buy paint because they are buying a quality paints. And most of the architects which are working in Sudan, they generally prefer a Kenyan brands, a Crown Berger. So that's the reason where the people are coming and buying goods from us. And at the moment, still we're working on a distribution models. We work on a cash policy. So I think our risk is minimum involved in those countries. But again, what we're trying to say that, okay, we have been looking over minimum break-even point. They say now we can able to say 200,000 liters of break-even point. So definitely paint is more contain the waters, and transportation cost has always been challenge in when transporting the goods in other continents. So definitely we look for when the time comes and we have been confident and we have a good larger customer base, we definitely go for producing the paints there, because that make more sense to improve profitabilities and make a better margin products and even give a good service to clients.
I see you have agreements with Plascon in South Africa and DuPont Chemical Teflon. How do those work?
I think been doing extremely well, because as Crown Berger is one of the most innovative company in this East Africa, and we always believe that we bring innovation in this market. Like Teflon is, we have been tied up with the DuPont to give one of the matte emulsions with the Teflon coating, which is the only paint in Africa which is matte, which is washable. So that's what we came. I mean, DuPont has been picked up our products from the market, and they said, yes, you are the only company which has the quality brands, and we can able to give you Teflon branding if you provided you follow our conditions. So that's what we believe, and the market is really looking for this type of product range in the Kenyan market, because architects in Kenyan market are very innovative, and they always look for a new brand. So that's why it's also push a pressure on us to make sure that we bring the world best technology and up to international standard, because we do not want to benchmark ourselves with the local standards. We definitely would look for European standards, American standards, and South African standards to make sure that we give the best product, because many South African consultants and architects have been practicing in Kenya, and they keep on demanding new products from Plascons and ICI Dulux. So we have to keep our rest up, and we have to make sure that we give the best product to architects to satisfy their needs. As far as recent tie with Plascon for distributing their automotive paints has been accepted very well by the market. They are looking for certain products which is probably better in pricing and better in service. The best advantage which we have with South Africa is service, which we can get because our neighboring countries, we have similar cultures, we know each other, we can serve customer faster, and we can, if you would like to train our clients or customers, we can fly down to Johannesburg much faster and can get things done better. So even before we had this agreement, even I've flown with my 15 customers to South Africa who have been selling major automotive paints in this country. And they really like this technology, they really like the products and the service and the technical knowledge which Plascon has. And after Plascon has been taken over by Consign, I believe that they will enhance the capacities and capabilities in the technical aspect of automotive, and which also will help Kenyan market to grow our automotive sectors, because of course our automotive sector is not too strong here compared to other brands. So we want to be number one in automotive sector. That's why we joined hands with them.